Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
Mayor Craig Thurmond, welcome back, sir. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Clay?
I really am excited to see you. Every time I see you, such great things and great progress is happening in Broken Arrow. What wonderful things have happened since I've seen you last, or maybe even today?
Well, today we had two groundbreakings. We had one for Fire Station 7, and we had one for the military, for the Veterans Center that we're doing for the military.
Well, let's talk about the fire station. Now, where's this fire station being built?
It's 91st or Washington and First Place. So it's right across from Arrowhead Park.
Right near here.
Yes, it's close. Yes.
Fire station number 7.
Number 7, yes.
Near Arrowhead, and what else now?
Right. It's right across from Arrowhead Park. So it's on Washington or 91st and First Place. So it's going to replace 7, which is our old one that we have on Elm and Edgewater.
Yeah.
It's, we can't really fit trucks in there. It's really tight. So now we can put any size equipment in here, and we've already got the engine for it.
Oh, wow.
So we're ready to go.
And then, so you're breaking ground on the new fire station number 7. Mm-hmm. And then what else did you break ground on?
On the Veterans Center, which is going to house 5 groups. It's going to be the VFW, the American Legion, the Blue Star Mothers, Purple Heart Society, and also the Vietnam veterans are going to be in there. So they're going to have office in there. They're going to have a meeting room that they can use.
And we're breaking ground here on a new relationship with Rich. What we wanted to do to make it exciting was to make it where it was hard for him to find the studio. But now that we've allowed him to find the studio, Rich, welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Really good today.
Now, Rich, how do you know Mayor Craig Thurmond?
I think it's been around close to 9 years now. I pastor Harvest Church in Broken Arrow, and that's basically when we got a relationship going because the church is on Main Street, and I wanted to get to know the city officials and get to know Mayor Craig Thurmond.
Okay, and so with your church, obviously, church and our First Amendment right to peaceably gather is super important for people. Talk to me about the leadership that you've seen from Mayor Craig Thurmond during these last few challenging months. I mean, does that give you the peace of mind? I mean, because there are cities and states out there right now where people cannot peaceably gather. What does that do for your psyche or for your church, knowing that you will be allowed to peaceably gather?
Well, I've actually, over this past 6 months, I've really watched to see how our city council and our mayor is going to maneuver through and has been maneuvering through this whole crisis with this pandemic. I think Mayor Craig Thurmond has been really steady and has taken, all the information and made the best decisions for the city of Broken Arrow. I have a real confidence that he's a man of prayer and wants to do the best for the city. And I think his decisions have really been really great decisions. I know it's brought peace and confidence to my heart of having him as a mayor and maneuvering through these rough decisions that he's had to make.
As a pastor, I think whether you want to or not, you have to become a good judge of character. You see a lot of people. You pray for a lot of people. You have unconditional love for your congregation.
I try.
You try to. But when you're working with a guy who's a mayor, mayors can really impact they can impact their citizens. Mm-hmm. And you've got a chance to see Mayor Craig up close and in person. How would you describe his demeanor and his approach to being the mayor of Broken Arrow for those out there that maybe don't know his character maybe the way you do?
Well, I think what speaks to me the most is Greg has servant leadership, which basically is a principle of the scriptures that Jesus tried to teach us, how to be a servant and a leader. And in order to be a good leader, you have to be a servant. And I've watched Craig just really portray that. I mean, he's a mayor that doesn't get paid for what he's doing. So it's obvious that he has a heart then to serve Broken Arrow, and he's in it for the best interests of the citizens of Broken Arrow.
Mayor Craig, I want to dive into that for a second. You do not get paid as the mayor of Broken Arrow.
No.
Can you compare that to other cities? I mean, is it normal in Oklahoma for the mayoral position to be an unpaid position?
In some of the small cities it is, and in some of the larger cities it's not. But I think it's really important that we do that, because you get a different person running for office when you're paying someone. So I'm really happy that we don't pay our city council in Broken Arrow.
You are happy that you don't get paid.
Well, never. My wife's not as happy as I am.
All right, okay.
But I'm pretty happy. I think that's the best way to do leadership. We're elected at large, and we're also nonpartisan, and we don't get paid. So we're volunteers. So you get people that really want to serve their community.
I believe that to be true, and I keep hearing more and more people tell me that they say, I love that Craig is honest with me. I love that he doesn't get caught up in all the hype. You don't come across as a tyrannical mayor who wants to fundamentally change the way Oklahomans want to live, when we believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Rich, have you had to interact with the mayor on situations as far as because everybody in Broken Arrow has a difference of opinion. Have you ever had to interact with the mayor on dealing with any type of disputes within the city of Broken Arrow? Have you ever had to, contact the mayor about disputes or issues?
Honestly, I can't think of any.
Okay.
I really look at the mayor as somebody who's really steady.
Yeah.
And I know he's had to deal with disputes.
Yeah.
I know for me personally, when I was renovating the building in 2011, Harvest Church, the city of Broken Arrow was extremely helpful to me.
Yeah.
The mayor and I think, have a really good relationship. I like the fact that he really encourages to have pastors open up city council in prayer, and you don't see that in a lot of cities.
Did you say that he encourages the city council to start out their meetings with prayer?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's the first thing we do. We had a motion probably in, I'm trying to think how many years ago I made that motion, but we started doing that, and the first thing we do at every meeting before we even call roll is we have a prayer.
Why?
Because it's important to go to God and get His guidance to start things, and I think it's so important that we have His guidance, and we have a pastor, and Rich has really done well in bringing pastors to our city, but we have someone that opens our meeting that way.
Do you at all have any concern about offending people there, Mayor Craig, when you open up your meetings in prayer?
Well, I think some people maybe are offended, and we've had a few emails about that, but it's if they're offended by that, that's that's their right to be offended, but it's not going to change our focus on God.
Do you, Pastor? Do you feel at peace that Mayor Craig Thurmond is the right guy for Broken Arrow at this time, or what would be your thoughts on because he's obviously running for re-election here, and a lot of people are looking to who should we vote for, who should we not vote for, and your opinion matters to a lot of people. So what are your thoughts on Mayor Craig and your endorsement of him or lack thereof?
I think that in getting to know him on a personal level through different interactions with the city, I think Greg is a great leader. I think he's steady, and he doesn't have a lot of highs, a lot of lows. He's just steady. And I appreciate that about him. I believe that he feels that his duty to serve the city of Broken Arrow, obviously, like we've talked, he's not getting paid to do it. So that really speaks to me that he has a love for the city, and he's doing it for the right reasons.
What should a Christian look for when voting? Out of a candidate?
Out of a candidate? I would probably say, for me personally, their relationship with the Lord, but also how they stand on certain issues. For me, abortion is a big issue.
Yeah.
Human rights,
I think a lot of pastors, though, have said, and I'd like to get your take on this, and I'm not trying to stir up an argument. I just want to get your take on this. You see a lot of pastors say, I don't want to talk about politics. And so, well, if you're in, let's just say you're in Thousand Oaks, California right now. Let's just say that was your stance for a long time. You say, I don't want to talk about politics as a pastor. Well, now you have to if you're a pastor in Thousand Oaks, California, because in Thousand Oaks, California, the elected officials have said that the pastors are not allowed to have church. So there's some point where pastors have to engage in politics, or at least talk about it or discuss it, or what is your take on the role of pastors and speaking up about political issues?
I think that it's a pastor's responsibility to inform his people that there's an election coming up and how important it is to get out and vote. I tell the people in my church to look at the platforms of one party versus another party. How do they line up biblically? And there's one thing that we can do. We can pray that God puts the right leaders in. But I believe another thing is that we can go and vote. and I'm not going to tell a person how to vote, but I can say and encourage a person, please look at their political platforms and see what they stand for. And then, look at it and how it lines up with your heart, what it says biblically, and then go with that.
I think it can, if we're not careful as Christians, we could say, well, the mayor doesn't control abortion laws. The mayor doesn't. So therefore, it doesn't matter what the mayor's stance is on abortion. Or as the mayor is not in control of our First Amendment rights or our Second Amendment rights to bear arms, that kind of thing. Or First Amendment rights to peaceably gather. So therefore, it doesn't matter. But I think it does matter. I think the character of a mayor does matter, and I think it's important to know where they stand on things. What's kind of the checklist in your mind that Christians should go through before electing somebody? Do you have kind of like a checklist of, hey, make sure they stand here if you're going to look for a Christian candidate?
If I'm going to look for a candidate that's going to really speak to me, I'm going to look at where does he stand with life? Is he pro-choice or is he pro-life? That's a big one.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. And, and then I guess after that would be what type of track record does this person have? What type of laws has he stood behind or voted against? I would want to learn about the person before I vote for him. But the abortion issue is a big one, I believe, for a lot of pastors, and I would want to know where they stand on that.
I agree with you. Now, Mayor Craig, we want to talk about your track record as we wrap up today's show. You've been mayor for how long in Broken Arrow?
I've been mayor, it'll be 9 years. I've been on the council for 20 years.
Okay. And during that time frame, I want to kind of go through a few things that I perceive to be highlights, and you can tell me kind of rapid fire if you had any involvement in these things, because it could have been just things that happened that you had no involvement in. So I'm just trying to educate the listeners out there. Downtown Broken Arrow.
I was involved in that, yes.
Revitalizing it.
Yes.
You were involved in that?
Mm-hmm.
What did you do?
From the very beginning, we started with the downtown master plan in 2004 to come up with a plan for downtown.
Yeah.
And then was involved in the Rose District and been involved in everything that we've done downtown.
Bass Pro Shop. Did you have any involvement with that?
Yes. Was very involved in Bass Pro and met with a lot of city leaders to talk about that and supported that from the very beginning and supported Johnny Morrison opening up Bass Pro. I thought it was very important.
The Warren Theater.
Yes, dealt with Bill Warren quite a bit, and it was very important that we got that area open and we started doing things. We're starting to do some more stuff. You'll see more things happen in South Broken Arrow over the next probably 6 months.
What is your proudest achievement so far that you've worked with the city, with the people of Broken Arrow to achieve thus far?
Well, probably the thing I'm the proudest of is when I first got on the council, we had a child of a firefighter that had brain cancer.
Wow.
And the city council's position at that time was that because they said that because he couldn't do chemo was killing him. He was 3 years old. And
this is the child of a firefighter.
And so the council's position was we're not going to pay for his treatment. And he went to an experimental treatment in Houston, and that child is alive today.
Really?
And we won that 3-2. We were able to convince I was able to convince a couple counselors it was the importance of having treatment. And we came up with the fact that all treatment for a 3-year-old really is experimental. They don't have anything that's not experimental, so we had to pay for his treatment, and when we did that, it saved his life, and he's still alive today because of that. And I don't think he would have been.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Wow.
Pastor Rich here, as we wrap up today's show, do you have any other thoughts you want to share for the folks out there that are thinking about who they're going to vote for? Any other thoughts about Mayor Craig Thurmond that maybe you think the citizens and residents of Broken Arrow should know about Mayor Craig?
I would probably say look at the fruit of Broken Arrow. I mean, it was voted one of the friendliest or nicest places to live. I believe.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, look at the infrastructure and how much is getting done. Look at the statistics when it comes to safety. So I would probably say look at the fruit. And I think by examining the fruit, you can say, hey, Broken Arrow is a pretty good place to live. And it must be because of Mayor Greg Thurmond's doing a great job, along with the city council. And we have a great city manager, Mike Spurgeon. So I would say look at that and then cast your vote on, on the fruit.
Now, Mayor, when is the election? When can people vote? When do they need to vote for you?
It's April 6th, 2021.
April 6th, 2021. And if people want to learn more about you, what is the website?
At MayorCraigThurmond.com.
MayorCraigThurmond.com. Mayor, thank you for making Broken Arrow great. I love living here. My wife and I and our kids, we really do appreciate you. And you're looking good. Are you drinking a lot of fish oil? Is that what you've been up to the last couple weeks here?
I've been pretty healthy, I think, through this whole pandemic where people were getting sick. I've stayed healthy, and I think it's important to do some exercise and eat right.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you so much. We'll end this thing with a boom. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.